Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a well known and respected author from Oslo, Norway, Mr. Ari Gautier. Ari, welcome to the show.
Hi, Ashutosh. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Ari is a writer and a poet, and he's been described as one of the greatest storytellers of our time by award-winning French writer Alain Mabankou. After 3 years of silence, Ari will be releasing three books this year: a novel, a collection of short stories, and a collection of poems. He's the author of Carnet, Secret, the Lakshmi, the Thenai, and the Nocturne, Pondicherry. And his three new books are releasing this year. His works have been translated into Tamil, English, German, Italian, and Norwegian. I do want to have a little disclaimer before I start talking to Ari. I'm not very familiar with French, so please excuse my pronunciation if I use my own English pronunciation of various terms. So, Ari, before we start talking about your forthcoming books, tell me about some of your memories in your childhood in Pondicherry and how it shaped you as a writer.
That's a that's a nice question to start with, Ashutosh. And yeah, I was born in Madagascar, and just after I was born, my father was in the French military service,
Mhm,
uh, took retirement.
mhm,
I mean, I was born in August, and I think by December, something like that, we moved to Pondicherry. So I have no memory at all whatsoever
mhm,
about Madagascar. So
mhm.
I'm like born and brought up
In
a
Pondicherry.
Pondicherry guy.
Mm, mm,
And yeah, Pondicherry, but there's normal childhood. But of course, the fact that we were mixed, my mom is from Madagascar
mm,
and my father being Tamilian. And as you know, it's not easy to live in India when you're a mixed kid.
mm,
And we are so obsessed by purity and everything. So mixed kid, I always looked
mm,
something different, not really accepted in the society. But we have been little lucky
mhm,
because Pondicherry already was a kind of cosmopolitan society because of the colonial past. There were still a lot of French people living there, and what we call the Creole community,
yeah.
which is again a mixed community of Indian with French and Portuguese and other Europeans
Mhm,
who were in Pondicherry. So we mostly live with that community because we had similar stories,
mhm,
we had similar features, we eat the same food, and we listen to the same kind of music.
mm,
So, but at the same time, that's where it gets interested
mm,
because I used to live in a kind of two parallel worlds.
mhm,
One which is very Franco-French
mhm,
world, and the other one which is very Tamilian.
mm,
And for some reason or the other, my father at one point moved from the kind of the, as you call, the very bourgeois streets of Pondicherry, which is like very Tamilian Hindu,
mhm,
to this fisherman village where his ancestors are from.
mhm,
For what reason, I don't know.
mm.
So we lived in a kind of hut without running water, without toilet, without electricity.
Wow.
From this place to another, it was kind of a big shift
Mm,
because we used to live in a kind of big chettiar house, as we call
mhm,
traditional Tamil houses.
yeah.
And then we moved to this hut and live among this fishermen and this Dalit community.
Mm,
I don't know, maybe he was trying to shape us in a different way, not to live in that
yeah.
luxurious life. So that shaped a lot of personality in me because
Mm,
then again, you go and live with the people we don't even relate to.
yes.
And that is exactly that experience
Mm,
which shaped my second book, Latina, which I put outside the city and lived among this Dalit and the fisherman.
incredible.
So my father was a vagabond, and that's what I think I became a vagabond also.
Mhm,
And I lived in all the part of the city.
Mhm.
from the Muslim area to the Christian area to the Catholic, to the Creole area to the Hindu and to the Dalit. So I know the city very well. And that shaped also my writings because I
Mm.
know each and every corner of Pondicherry and the
Mm.
way they live, or different community live.
Amazing, amazing. And when did you first discover your passion for writing and poetry? What role did language and storytelling play in your early life?
I remember when we moved to that place, to that Kurchukupam,
Mhm.
I used to have a small diary
Mm.
I used to write on. And I still remember uh, that it's very strange. I was 5, 6 years old, I think. And I wrote in that book, I want to become free like a cowboy.
Mhm.
That I still remember.
Mm.
So I used to write a lot, but then again, it's like very really nothing substantial, nothing
Mm.
interesting. And the age of 14, when I discovered the poet Magakavi Bharatyar, I started to write poetry. But then again, this is the kind of poetry you write for your, you know, classroom lovers.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Nothing
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
And so I never thought I was gonna write on one day, but
Mm.
I read a lot.
Mm.
I read a lot, and then again, writing is a luxury. You see,
Mm.
as you know, and it's a luxury. You need to have some kind of financial
Correct.
backbone. Sorry, backbone, in order to focus on writing.
Absolutely
But
right.
my life wasn't easy, because I stopped studying at the age of 16 because I wanted to become a Bharatanatyam dancer.
Hmm. Amazing.
So I have no formal education, to be honest.
Amazing.
And so no, writing was not an option at all.
Mm.
It
Wow.
became it became late in my life, in 2012, when I was in Nigeria because my wife was posted there as a diplomat.
Hmm.
So we had 4 years in front of me, not doing anything. And she said, "What are you gonna do?" I said, without even knowing, without even thinking, I said, "I'm gonna write." And she was kind of very surprised. And I said, "You're gonna write?" I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna write."
Mm.
Then I realized, oh my God, I got myself in a big problem because I never thought I'm gonna write.
Mm.
But again, now I came to Nigeria and I started to write that first book. And I could have just not written anything and just
Mm.
pretend that I'm doing something. But
Mm.
I wrote because of the love for that woman
Mm.
who believed in me, who trusted me. So I didn't want to deceive her.
Mm.
So I came to writing out of love.
Amazing. What an amazing story. Thank you. Moving on, your works explore colonialism, caste, and multicultural identity. What drives you to engage with these themes?
Colonialism, the French presence in India, when we talk about colonization or colonialism in India, we think about only about the British colonization and to a certain extent the Portuguese
Mm.
and the Dutch, in some areas. But the French presence in India is totally like neglected, unknown, or not even talked about.
Mm.
Pondicherry is seen as a kind of like a French paradise. We thought, okay, we go for booze
Yeah.
and having some kind of a French art de vivre. Uh, but other than that, we don't know anything about that.
Mm.
And when I realized that in the course of 270 years, the French stayed in India, I mean, stayed in Pondicherry,
Mm.
but their presence in India goes back a little before that.
Mm.
But nobody's talking about it. And even they talk about that, it's only the French who talked about that.
Mm.
My friend Ian Magadera from Liverpool University with Kate Marsh has registered French literature, French books on India.
Mhm.
It's a website. It's there. I can send you the link. So you can see from 1530, the first book was written about India
Mm.
by travelers.
Mm.
Up to 2012,
Mm.
all the books are written only by French people.
Mm.
So the indigenous perspective is not even existing.
Mm.
So what are we doing? And
Hmm.
how do we deal with this kind of uh,
Hmm.
the vacuum which is left, which the story is not written.
Hmm.
So when I found out that, and I said, okay, this is what I'm going to write.
Hmm.
I'm going to write about the French presence in India, and mainly Pondicherry being the seat of the French imperial power in that region.
Yeah.
So, and me being a Pondicherrian, so
Hmm.
it becomes very, very natural, very
Hmm.
organically.
Hmm.
And then again, when I started to write, when I started to dig more and more, I understood there are different layers of stories, history that has not been told in the terms of subalterns
Hmm.
and sub-subalterns,
Mhm.
who are the Dalit.
Yeah.
The Dalit voice is not there.
Hmm.
Okay, they say, okay, there's one map in 1783. It says, it shows the map of Pondicherry and the different community living. And there's one community, which is Kurchugupam, they say, these people are good for nothing. And it
Hmm.
says that. It says fishermen and people good for nothing.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
already you see the colonial mindset
Hmm.
is saying that, oh, okay, is to put those people are not even worth talking about.
Hmm.
So my ambition or my goal is again to give voices to these people who are not being told in the history of Pondicherry
Mhm.
and the history of colonization.
Hmm. Very interesting. How did your early experiences in Pondicherry and France find expression in your first book, Karne's Secret de Lakshmi?
How the book was received, you mean? That's what you asking?
No, how did your early experiences find
Ah,
expression in this book?
okay. Yeah, yeah. You see, this is again anomaly in the colonial history.
Mhm.
Because as you know, I belong to this very small community which is called the Franco-Indian. Some people call Franco-Indian. Some people call Franco-Pondicherrian, as
Mhm.
Pondicherry is as it's its own nation by itself
Yeah,
or citizenship by itself.
correct.
I call it Franco-Pondicherrian,
Mhm.
maybe because out of chauvinism.
Yeah.
So the Franco-Pondicherrian is a kind of is caught in the kind of, as I call, uh, identity schizophrenia. You know, when we are in Pondicherry, we behave like French.
Mhm.
When we come to France, we behave like Pondicherrians.
Mhm.
The typical Pondicherrian, what we'll do, it's a cliche, it's a stereotype, but
Mhm.
I say it for fun. He can go in the, he'll take his croissant for breakfast,
Mhm.
wear his Kenzo or Armani or Christian Dior suit to go to work. He'll have couscous during lunch.
Mhm.
Come back home, he'll shift on his Kylie, eat his mean korbe, and watch Rajinikanth.
Mhm.
So this is the Franco Pondicherry. So
Mhm.
he's caught between two cultures, you see, and it keeps, as I call, shifting identities.
Mhm.
It keeps on shifting according to period of his life, how he understands himself, what is
Right.
his own identity. So
Mhm.
my own identity, as I said, because I was born and brought up kind of in Pondicherry. When I moved to France, I thought myself I was a French man.
Mhm.
And the first thing they asked me, said, where are you from?
Mhm.
When are you going back?
Mhm.
I said, man, my name is Gautier. I mean, I have a French name.
Mhm.
He said, I'm coming from Pondicherry. He said, where is Pondicherry?
Mhm. Right.
Then themselves, they forgot their own history. You see,
Mhm.
they don't know they colonized India.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so when you move to France, you suddenly become an Indian,
Mhm.
which I never thought I was an Indian.
Yeah. Yeah.
In France, in Pondicherry, I was going to French school. I spoke French with my father, and my classmates and friends are French.
Mhm.
So you live in some kind of bubble,
Yeah.
and then you come to France, and that bubble explode, and
Mhm.
then you realize, oh God, I'm not the French I thought I am.
Very
So then
interesting.
again, then the identity crisis starts.
Mhm. Mhm. That is true. That is true. So true.
And
So true.
how to cope up with it is not easy. So, Ashutosh, it took me 40 years, to be
Mhm.
honest,
Amazing.
to accept what I am, to understand what I am, first of all,
Mm.
to accept what I am. And and it's not easy because I know for a fact that a lot of kids from the previous generation, even from this generation, are still suffering of some kind of identity
Correct,
problem.
correct, correct. You're so right. You're so right. Let's also now talk about Lakshmi's Secret Diary, which was recently published by Columbia University. Talk about the journey of this book from French to English.
Yeah, you see, already establish yourself in the French literature landscape isn't easy.
Hmm.
Like the Francophone literature, there's a French literature and Francophone literature.
Mhm.
It has to be understood very well. The French is still a subject of debate. The
Mhm.
French literature is written by white Frenchmen.
Mhm.
The Francophone literature is the colonized people,
Mhm.
like African Francophone
Yeah.
literature,
Mhm.
Maghrebin from the Algerian, North African, the Caribbean Francophone literature, Indian Ocean Francophone literature, but it is all French literature. But for some kind of cultural, politic issues, we call it French and Francophone.
Mhm.
And then suddenly I'm coming from India that nobody has been written for 270 years.
Mhm.
They don't know that Indians can write in French.
Right.
You know, there
Mhm.
are 4 or 5 authors before me who was written in French, like Sumona Sinha is
Mhm.
one of the author because
Mhm.
she's from Bengal. She
Mhm.
moved to France and she started to write in French. But
Mhm.
she write it to French. She writes in French out of uh, uh, because out of choice.
Mhm.
But I'm writing. I have no choice because I'm French.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
a language that inherited through colonization.
Absolutely right.
So my what do you call, my connection with French is very, very complex
Mhm.
and complicated.
Mhm.
So when I come with this book, which is written by an Indian, and then again is French, is Malagasy, and the book is about talk about Pondicherry, which is a forgotten
Mhm.
colony.
Mhm.
So definitely, it's people find it very curious.
Mhm.
But then again, because it's an unknown territory, the French literary circle is a mafia itself,
Mhm.
as I call the Saint-Germain mafia.
Mhm.
No, it's a mafia who promote only their people.
Correct.
It's a privileged caste.
Mhm.
You can't enter easily
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to have a kind of network. You need to have the right people who can promote that book, and which I don't have. And
Mhm.
on top of that, I live in Oslo. I don't even live in Paris.
Mhm.
Had I lived in Paris, things would have been different because I would have easily got into the network.
Mhm.
But living in a different country, writing about France, writing about French presence in India isn't easy to enter the circle. So thank God, it's not the popular literature milieu who was interested,
Mhm.
is the academics.
Mhm.
Suddenly said, "Oh wow, there is something coming up, some new coming out." A guy from Pondicherry living in Oslo, being a French, is writing about the French presence in India.
Wow.
So the academics were interested. See that
Mhm.
they are the one who pushed me in the front. So Blake Smith was the first one with my first book, my second book, Tinai.
Mhm.
It was translated much before Kamli Lakshmi.
Mhm.
And Blake Smith's book, The Tinai, which was published by Ashat India,
Mhm.
got a very good reviews and well received
Mhm.
in India. So that opened the door.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
Sheila Magadevan being close friend to Blake Smith, and she wanted to translate, and that's how it happened.
Wow. Wow. Moving on now, Ari. After 3 years of silence, you are releasing three new books. Tell me about your books.
Yeah, 3 years of silence because every time I finish one book, I want to move to the next one. There's one translation comes, so translation takes as much time
And
as writing it yourself.
yeah.
So I was very busy with that, and poetry is something I've been writing for a long time, as I said, from since I've been exposed to Bharati poems. So this poetry book is called Songes des archipels silencieux. It means the dreams are the silent archipelagos.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very interesting collection. Why? Because for the first time, I'm exploring something which is again unknown, is the slavery in Pondicherry.
Mm-hmm.
We know about the indentured labor ship.
Yeah.
It went to Caribbean, to Mauritius, and Fiji, and everywhere. And the people who went to the French Caribbean are mostly from Pondicherry.
Mm-hmm.
People who moved to Fiji, Mauritius, they are from the what you call BR, Bhojpuri speaking people.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a clear distinction from the Madras president. The Madras colonial system took them to the Madras
Yeah.
colonies,
Yeah.
British colonies,
Mm-hmm.
and the French took the French citizens or subalterns to the French plantations.
Mm-hmm.
But there is one unknown history which has discovered recently.
Mm-hmm.
It is the slavery in Pondicherry, where French people did slave trade till the time they came to Pondicherry, and they took almost like 190,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
That is totally erased. Nobody wants to talk about it. Even
Mm-hmm.
the French people, they never said, they never revealed. So these stories have come out. So when I discovered that story, so the entire collection of poem, it's talk about slavery, indentured labor ship, identity, night, and the sea. Because the
Mm-hmm.
sea in Pondicherry, I'm sure you've been to Pondicherry,
Yeah.
we sit on the beachfront and we look at the sea as something which is it's there. It becomes an object of uh, uh, you see it as it's not connected to you.
Mm-hmm.
No, there is a connection, but the connection because sea is still seen as a kalapani,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
dark waters.
Yeah.
You know, so we see it from a very strange relationship that the Pondicherrians or even Indians have with the sea.
Correct.
We don't understand the sea. The maritime history of India, the Indian Ocean, is still unknown.
Yeah.
So that is that book.
Very interesting. Okay.
The second book is called Memoir de Canare. It means memory of plantations.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I explored. It's a book in two different parts. The first part is again the indentured labor ship, but through the women perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's 9 destinies of 9 women who travel to 9 different plantations, and how, despite the violence, despite the injustice, despite the hardship, they find through resilience to find a new life.
Mm-hmm.
And the second part of the book is about the colonial urbanization of Pondicherry.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, the colonial narrative says that they discovered Pondicherry. But no, Pondicherry was existing before you came.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the coastal area was a fisherman village, but you cannot claim that entire Pondicherry
Correct.
was a fisherman village.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm challenging the order that colonial lie, which justified the colonization by saying we discovered Pondicherry, we developed Pondicherry. No, you didn't develop anything. You developed stuff to bring your goods outside.
Mm-hmm.
You make the port to ship everything. You made a railway track to take your goods.
Transport,
So
yeah.
you didn't develop anything. So these are my second book. The third book is I'm not finished, so it might come.
Okay. Okay.
But 2 books are coming for sure.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And maybe we'll schedule another conversation when your third book is ready. But Ari, I have time for one more question,
Yes.
or maybe 2 more questions. Do you have any long-term literary goals or projects that you are currently nurturing?
It's been going on for 8 years.
Okay. Okay.
That
Okay.
is my magnum opus, which I've been working on. It's a kind of book like Gabriel Garcia Marquez,
Mm-hmm.
100 Years of Solitude, where I am talking about a family, the history of a family through from the time the Europeans set foot in Pondicherry up to now.
Mm.
But the problem is it requires so much of historical research. And the more I do research, the more I find. So
Mm.
the book takes different directions every time I discover something.
Mm.
So I still remember I wrote two chapters, and the two chapters is still like that.
Amazing.
So I think I need to finish the book I'm writing now, which is called Cryofuturism,
Mm-hmm.
The Legend of Mardaviran.
Mm.
Uh, and after that, I'm not going to take any other projects. I'm going to focus only on that book,
Mm.
and it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
It's going to take easily 8 to 10 years to write that book. So I'll
Wow.
be 70 or 75 by the time I finish the book.
Amazing. 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 Well, good luck. Good luck. Good luck. And my last question for you, Ari, you mentioned that, uh, you started writing when you moved to Nigeria and you had some amazing success and recognition all over the world. What message would you like to leave with young writers who are beginning to find their voice in today's complex world?
You see, Ashutosh, I'm a very bad advisor and I'm a very bad pedagogue. I'm not really, no, it's not at all my thing. I
Okay.
would say a simple thing: keep on dreaming.
Hmm.
Simple.
Keep on
Just
dreaming and keep on writing.
keep on dreaming.
Keep on dreaming.
Keep on dreaming.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
People, because we might dream that never been achieved, but doesn't
Hmm.
stop you to dream.
Amazing.
Just
And
keep
on
on
that
dreaming.
note, Ari, I just want to say what a fascinating conversation this has been with you. I mean, I'm a writer myself, but talking to you has given me such amazing new perspectives on Pondicherry, on how you have grown up with a Tamil father and and a mother from Madagascar. Thank you for talking to me about how you have really worked on so many different types of books, some of the early influences you have had. And thank you also for talking to me about the two books that are coming up, about the one that you're working, and hopefully we'll see your magnum opus in print sooner than later. Thank you again for speaking to me and good luck to you.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.